In the annals of history, World War II stands as a defining moment, a cataclysmic event that reshaped nations and ideologies across the globe. Yet, in the early stages of this global conflict, the United States maintained an official stance of neutrality. This decision to abstain from direct involvement was born out of complex motivations and circumstances that merit a closer examination. As the 1930s unfolded, the specter of war loomed ever larger. Countries across Europe found themselves entangled in political turmoil and aggression, with Nazi Germany under Adolf Hitler's rule spearheading a campaign of expansion and domination. Despite witnessing these ominous developments, the United States under President Franklin D. Roosevelt chose a path of non-intervention. But why did America, a nation that would later play a pivotal role in ending the war, initially decide to stay out? The roots of this decision trace back to the aftermath of World War I. The horrors of that conflict and the ensuing societal trauma had left deep scars in the American psyche. The pervasive sentiment among the public was one of isolationism. A prevalent belief existed that America's involvement in foreign wars would only lead to unnecessary suffering and entanglement in European disputes far removed from American interests. This isolationist view was further reinforced by the economic turbulence of the Great Depression in the 1930s. With millions of Americans unemployed and struggling, the focus of the government and its people was squarely on rebuilding the nation's economy. The notion of engaging in another overseas conflict was neither politically popular nor economically feasible. Thus, as tensions brewed overseas, domestic priorities took precedence for the United States. Moreover, the U.S. Congress passed a series of neutrality acts in the mid-1930s. These legislative measures were designed to prevent the nation from being drawn into external wars by restricting arms sales and loans to belligerent nations. While these acts were aimed at safeguarding American interests, they also exemplified the nation's strong inclination toward non-involvement. Yet, staying out of the war was not merely a matter of legislative safeguards. Public opinion played a critical role. Polls during this period consistently showed that a majority of Americans were opposed to military intervention. Influential figures and organizations vocally championed this stance, reinforcing the government's cautious approach. Groups like the America First Committee emerged, advocating for a focus on defending the American homeland rather than engaging in foreign conflicts. However, as the situation deteriorated, President Roosevelt recognized the growing threat posed by the Axis powers. He began to discreetly prepare the nation both economically and militarily, ensuring that it would be ready should the tide of war shift toward American shores. Through initiatives like the Lend-Lease program, the United States provided critical support to allied nations, a strategic move that signaled a shift from strict neutrality to a more active, albeit indirect, participation. The turning point came with the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. This unprovoked act by Japan not only shocked the nation but also unified the public and political spheres in support of entering the war. Overnight, the sentiments of isolationism gave way to calls for action and retribution. The United States, once a hesitant observer, was thrust onto the global stage as a formidable force determined to defeat the Axis powers. In conclusion, the early decision of the United States to stay out of World War II was shaped by a confluence of historical, economic, and political factors. From the scars left by World War I to the pressing demands of the Great Depression, America's course was one of cautious detachment and careful calculation. Yet, as history unfolded, this initial reluctance gave way to decisive action, altering the course of the war and the future of the world. It's a lesson in how a nation grapples with its ideals and responsibilities, a testament to the fluid nature of policy shaped by the ever-changing tides of global events. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more intriguing insights.